It's a great schus tonight to begin the program. I'd just like to explain in 2 minutes, first of all, why we have to start on time and finish on time, and what's the connection to this great schus we have to have our Rav Yedid to here. I was a younger man and I was working in Yeshiva Torah Tmima, and I was asked to make a connection with Rebbe Povarsky Shli to the Yeshiva Panovich, to connect him to come speak in the yeshiva. It was in the camp at the time. So when I called him up, he said he doesn't really know about Torah Tmima. At that time he didn't know about the yeshiva, but he told me a vart, and I think it's very apropos to hear. He said to me, the Pasuk says, Ki sifsei koyen yishmeru das, yevakish Torah mipiu, Ki malach Hashem tzvokoisu. You should look to be mavakish, to connect to Torah from a malach Hashem. The Gemara darshans, malach Hashem means kim malach Hashem. So you have to look for a Rebbe who has the midas and the attributes of a malach Hashem. But Rebbe Povarsky Shlita told me that's not the pshuta shalmik. So the Gemara says, Im harav doim el malach Hashem, yevakish Torah mipiyo. Im la'av al yevakish Torah. So that's, you have to know someone who's completely erlich, completely not selfish, devoted completely to giving over Torah. That's a malach Hashem. But Rebbe Povarsky asked, that's not the pashtus of the Krah. The pashtus of the Krah, the simple reading is malach Hashem. What does it mean? So if you look in the Radak and the Mitzudais, malach means a shliach. It doesn't mean a malach like Himmel. A Himmel, a Shomayim malach, is a drosha. The Pashup Pshat is malach. So Rebbe Povarsky asked, so how do you know if someone's a shliach? How do you know if someone's a shliach of Hashem? So he answered and he said, when you see his talmidim and you see somebody's hashboah and it has a lasting effect, that's a raya muchrachas that he's a shliach of Hashem. Because you can't have a lasting impression if it's lacking in the connection of siyata d'shmaya, a shliach of Hashem. So a few years ago, Rav Yedid called me and I came to his yeshiva, and then I also came to Sharei Tzion at the time of the Ptira of Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal. I was floored. The bikush. I came downstairs in Sharei Tzion, hundreds of people being miyageya b'Torah at night. It's something mind-boggling. I walked out from the yeshiva Derech Eretz, there were bachrim, all stripes and kinds, and after I finished Reb Chaim Kanievsky, they were on top of me with more bikush, with more rotzen, with more yearning to connect to the Torah Hashem. That, where I saw those talmidim and those mispalim, I knew this is a malach Hashem who's a shliach of Hashem. And that's why he's rushing to get back to give his shiur that he gives every night in the shul. I don't know how we were zeicha. We're a good shul, and we're doing a lot, and we have tremendous hashbah, and we're also malachi Hashem. We're also creating a miftzar of Torah, which is like a lighthouse of showing Torah to the whole world. But it's in that schus, b'schus avoisai, b'schus ha-Torah, it's my privilege to ask Harav Yedid Shlita to give us some divrei chizuk.
Thank you, Rabbi Cynamon, for such a warm introduction. It's a big zchut to be here. You forgive my havara Sfaradit. The truth is, I came here on a night that I'm quite busy. I'm between a few things. But when Rabbi Cynamon calls me, I have no choice but to come. And I'd like to explain why. I'll give you an example. that happened just this Friday night. We're having a Seuda, Shiva Brachas for my daughter, got married last week. Thank you. And I'm sitting with Baruch Hashem, my new son-in-law. It's a beautiful Talmid Chacham that actually came from our yeshiva. And one of his cousins, it's not so, I wouldn't call him a yeshiva boy, not from the family of a yeshiva family. And he got up to speak, and he spoke with such strength and Yirat Shamayim. And so I turned over to my son-in-law Yitzchak, and I said, how did you get so close to him? He says, when I was learning Eretz Yisrael, he says he was there for the year. And I made sure once a week we would learn. He wasn't in a yeshiva, he was in Israel, doing whatever he was doing. And once a week they would learn. And when he came back here, he decided he's staying and learning. I said, once a week, what did you learn with him? What do you learn once a week with somebody who doesn't know what the sweetness of Torah is, not ready for the amelut of Torah? What do you learn with him? He said, I'll tell you the truth. He says, I would learn something by Rabbi Cynamon. I would listen to a shir. I don't know if it was a sefer. I wasn't sure what he said. He said, I would prepare something that was geschmack, and I would sit with him, and we would learn every single Thursday night. And that's the boy that came out of our learning. The boy's still learning today. This is a story that I'm sure has happened a few dozen times. Rabbi Cynamon has given our boys something sweet, something beautiful to chew on, in his sweetness, in the way he brings it over. And I feel a tremendous amount of hakarat hatov for Rabbi Cynamon, for what you do, not only for your Talmidim in the yeshiva, but for your Khal, not only for that, but your Talmidim out there in the world, even Sfardim. You don't even know. People that are growing from your Torah, and we appreciate that. I appreciate being around such special people who are building a Khal here in Brooklyn. I know for Ashkenazim that's not so popular to build a Khal in Brooklyn. But I'd like to share with you something about a Khal. I'd like to share with you something personal. It's not so deep, you forgive me. It's just very simple. You know, in our lives, there are certain mitzvot that we celebrate with seuda, with music, with great celebration. Probably we should celebrate every mitzvah that way. But I guess there are certain mitzvot that were given special chashivut. And when someone does that mitzvah, it's something else. We have by a brit milah. It's not a regular mitzvah. Many people come. Food, sometimes music. Pidyon haben is one of those mitzvot that we celebrate. Bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah. We have chatuna, another beautiful mitzvah. People coming, eating, dancing. And we have siyum masechet. When we finish something, when we finish a masechet, we finish a season together, a zman together, a siyum. But in truth, the siyum doesn't quite go with everything else. Because if you look at all the mitzvot that we celebrate, we're celebrating something that's in the future. We're not celebrating something in the past. A Jew doesn't celebrate the past. He celebrates the present and the future. A Brit Milah is a beginning of a Jew that entered Le'achniso B'brito Shel Avraham Avinu. We celebrate the future of this child. Pidyon Ben, he was redeemed from something he couldn't accomplish. He's a Bechor, but he can't do the job of a Bechor, so we have to redeem him. So we're celebrating his future, that he can find his derech. A Bat Mitzvah, it's Pashut. Bar Mitzvah, a Chatunah. These are all celebrations of the future. They're not even celebration of the moment. And certainly not of the past. We don't celebrate the past. We learn from the past. We grow from the past. But we celebrate the future. On Simchat Torah, we start a new Sefer. It's a siyum. But really, we're not celebrating Bereshit. We're celebrating Dvarim. Chamishah Torah. That's the past. Siyum is something that seems to be out of character, that we're celebrating something that happened. I assume this is the end of year dinner, or end of season, or end of Zman. And you go to the mountains, I don't know what happens over here. Is that what they do? Something like that. So we're celebrating the past year together. I'd like to say Dvarim Pshutim, and you'll forgive me that I didn't come to say deep things. But I'm your neighbor here, I don't have to say deep things. When you come from out of town, you have to say very deep things. I, with Hashem's tremendous blessings, were zocheh to be part of a Chabura. Like Rabbi Cynamon said, Baruch Hashem, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people learning, mamash, every night. On all different levels. People who never opened the Gemara before, people who went to yeshiva, all different kinds, from all ages. There's a tremendous thirst for Torah. But in that, there's maybe 70, 80 who I've been with for a long time, 15 years or so. Call them the Chabura. We learn Be'iyun, we're learning Chuli now. We finished Shabbat, it took us 4 years. We learn Be'iyun, we have Marei Mekomot, Chavrutot, Shiurim. We learn every morning, every night. And Sunday night, this week, was the last Sheva Brachas. It was done by one of the boys from the Chabura. And he invited all the boys and their wives to this beautiful Sheva Brachot. And they asked me to say a few words after they all spoke. And looking around the room, the whole night I'm looking at this person, at that person, at this person. And I realized, maybe not for the first time, but it was glaringly for the first time, so clear. I know every guy very, very close. I learned, this is my family, this is my mishpacha. I spend more time with them than I do at home. I'm busy all day, I work. There's yeshivas, there's talmidim, there's buildings. But I have every morning and every night, I'm part of the Chabura. And I realize how much beracha this Chabura has. It's something unbelievable. I wish I was able to give you my feelings, that you could see it. Each one, without hagzama, each one has the most beautiful children, mamash, children that anybody here would not believe, such beautiful boys, beautiful girls, marrying Bnei Torah, tremendous Talmidei Chachamim. From these guys' children, they're not Talmidei Chachamim, but they're a Chabura. The bracha that this Chabura has, not only spiritually, but also in Gashmiyut, unbelievable. And I'm looking around and I'm saying, how fortunate we are. I'm not the same guy that I was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I didn't have a yeshiva even. I was working somewhere, I was teaching. Today we have 2,200 children. 15 years, 14 years. I'm not the same guy. That guy, I remember he just got a job. Today, he's one of the biggest supporters of the yeshiva. That guy, unbelievable aliyah and ruchaniyut. If you look at the Chabura, and I know, I see Naftali Miller over there, my dear friend. You're there, right, Naftali? He could be made. Thank you for all you do for Klal Yisrael, Naftali. He knows some of the guys. Actually, Chas Lev had a fundraiser by the person's house that I'm talking about this year. You know who that is. What's the secret? What's the underlying bracha that we have? And there's nothing really in common, not our last name, not our family backgrounds, not even our spiritual level. But there's one thing in common that we have, is that we're a Chabura. You know, there's a mitzvah in the Torah, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, to love every person like you love yourself. Seemingly an impossible mitzvah, to love every person like you love yourself. That's why the Mefarshim say, practically, you can't do it. Practically, you could do what Hillel said to the ger, to the convert, that whatever you don't want done to you, don't do to others. That you can handle. I don't want you to park in my driveway, I won't park in your driveway. I don't want to be spoken about, I won't speak about you. I don't want to be annoyed, I won't annoy you. I can do that, I can handle it. To love someone like you love yourself, it's impossible. But they say, the Mefarshim say, that there's one person you can fulfill that mitzvah kipshuto, as is. And that's your spouse. That it's really kamocha. When you go buy a plane ticket, you don't buy for someone else. You buy for your wife. It's the same. When you buy food, you don't take them for dinner. You're buying for yourself. It's kamocha. You can fulfill with a spouse the true ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. But I'd like to add that this Sunday night I realized that I truly love every guy in the Chabura. Be'emet, I believe that every guy there loves each other. We're family. Where is there a room of people that get together 365 days a year, morning and night, and never get into a fight? Where is there a room that people, every day they see each other, wish themselves a good morning and a good day and a good night? Such ahava ve'ahva, shalom ve'reut. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, by the Chabura. The people that I live with in the Bet Midrash has changed my life and every single person in that Chabura. And perhaps that's what the Siyum is all about. The Siyum is not about what we accomplished this year. The Siyum is about what we've become to go forward, like we say in the Siyum, Hadrach Alan. Hadrach Alan means the beauty of what we've accomplished together as a Chabura. In this Masechet, Alan, it's here, it's now. I'm living it, I'm feeling it. I'm living with it with my family. I see it in my children. You have any idea what it is when my children see I have a Chabura that I'm part of every single day? I'm not just a guy who prays in this shtibel. I catch mincha here, Shachar is there. I'm part of a Chabura. We're together. That's what the siyum is all about. It's not about the past. It's about the new me that's been produced through learning with my chavrusa and my chabura and my rebbe. That's something that I have so special that I wanted to share with you. I imagine this is a chabura, or at least wants to be a chabura. But sometimes in life, you want something, but you don't have the strength to actually do it because it takes a little sacrifice. You have to stay in the same shul. You have to pray at the same time. It's korbanot you have to bring. And sometimes you have to leave early. It's almost 9 o'clock. I got to leave. I see you guys want me to talk more, but I have to go anyway. Doesn't make a difference. I got a chabura. I got to go. There's a wedding at night. I have to leave. I can't be there. Chabura is waiting. To be part of a chabura takes a little sacrifice. It's much easier to be on your own. But guess what? When you know about Hadrach Alan, it changes the game. Because now it's not only about the right thing to do. Now it's about my success. It's about my family. It's about my simcha. It's about everything that I have in my life. You have any idea the women there that night that were glowing? When I was speaking, they were glowing. And they realized what it means when they send out their husbands to learn early in the morning and late at night. They're seeing the bracha in their homes. That's the bracha of a chabura. Perhaps that's what we celebrate when we make a siyum. It's not about what we did. It's about what we've produced and what we could do going forward. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Hashem. Hashem says, oh, you have people that you love in your life? You have a chabura? You have 10 guys that you learn with, that you became a family with, that you're learning Torah Chaim. You're growing together, you're living together, you're beshalom together, you love each other. Ani Hashem, I'm here with you. Siyata Dishmaya, I'm with you. It's a pasuk in the Torah, it's not a chidush of Rav Yedid. It's a simple pasuk. When you have people that you love and you spend your life with, Ani Hashem, Hashem says, I'm with you. Take my hand. You have siyata dishmaya. Those are the feelings that I feel for myself. I feel very thankful that I have such a reality, and I hope to be able to grow it. More chabura, more bracha, more people, more ahava. A chabura is not only about learning, it's about living your life with siyata dishmaya. I bless you, my dear friends. We are friends, whether we know each other or not. We have each other. We have one thing that unites us, whether we're Sfaradi or Ashkenazi. Our heritage is the Torah. The Torah was given to us before we even had a land. Every country, every people is united through their land, as we say in Alin L'Shabeach. Shelo asanu kegoyeh ha'aratzot. The nations of the world, what makes them a nation is the eretz, is the land. That's what makes an American and an Italian and every single nationality. Their land is what unites them. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give the Torah, not in Yerushalayim and not on Har HaBayit. He gave it to us outside of the land. We were a nation before our land. Because there's something that we all share together. And that's our holy Torah. That's what brings us together. And that's what brings our siyata dishmaya. And I bless you all, Khal Kadosh, that you should continue to go mehayel al hayel, build the chabura, build the ahava, and build the siyata dishmaya that you will see for yourselves, for your children, grandchildren, ad bi'ad goel tzedek, amen ve'amen.
Baruch Hashem, after such an inspiring drosha, but we still get together each year. like Rav Yedid just said, B'Soif Hashana, Mereishis Hashana and Achros Hashana, not only to celebrate, but also to take accounting and to take stock, what we're doing, what we could do better in our personal lives and in our communal life as Bnei HaKehillah. The Torah says in this week's parsha that Khal Yisrael, some of Khal Yisrael were misoinenim and ra ba'oznei Hashem. The Mefarshim note, what does it mean, oznei Hashem? It should have been ra la Hashem. Why is it underlined as oznei Hashem? Rashi seems to note because it was a complaint. Misoinenim, they were complaining, and that's somehow connected to the oznei, to the ears of Hashem. But what does that mean? Why is it connected to the hearing, to the ears of Hashem? I thought it's not mashma in the pasuk, according to this, that the complaint was the issue. And I looked it up in the Medrash. They had just, when they left Midbar Sinai, they walked 3 days straight. And after walking 3 days straight, with children, the lashon of the Medrash is, mitupul biyelodim, they had a lot of children. Obviously, there were krechtzes. That wasn't the issue. I think the issue was possibly a much deeper issue. I want to say over a Maaseh, and I'm not coming to say godless about Avram Yeshua Soloveitchik, but I want to say I once gave him a nedava that was worth almost, I think, as much as the nedavis that the great Gvirim give him. He's a Meyer Gabbai Tzedakah, and I can't be in competition with the great Gvirim who give him money to distribute. But I was in his house 2 years ago, in the summer, I think it was, and he knows things that are happening all over. So he said to me, Rav Cynamon, you're in Tarvadas? I said, yes. He asked me a few questions. Then he said, you know, Sigven Gedolei Yisrael in Tarvadas. I said, I know. I said the name Rav Sheps was the Gedolei original Talmidim of the Brisker Rov. He said, yeah, Rav Sheps was a devoted Talmud from the Alta Miras, the Talmidim of Yebiruchim, a Talmud of his grandfather. So I told him I was Zoicha one summer to be in the bungalow colony with Rav Sheps. And I used to walk him to Mincha Ma'ariv. And when I would walk him to Mincha Ma'ariv, my sons were little then, they came along. And invariably, after a few times, it ended up, we talked in learning. Rav Sheps was a shtick fire, but we talked in learning. And one of the times he said something to me, and Kedarka Shel Torah, I argued on what he said. And he answered me back. And Kedarka Shel Torah, while we were walking, I re-argued the point. And then he touched my lapel, Rav Sheps, and he said, Ich weiß nicht. Der Stickel hab ich immer gesagt zu Rebbe Avram Yeshua. Und hat Maskim given. First of all, Rav Sheps was close to 100 years old, and Rebbe Avram Yeshua was not even a dream of being born when he was by the Brisker Rov. And he told me, so I said that to Rebbe Avram Yeshua, that Rav Sheps said to me, Ich habe es immer gesagt zu Rebbe Avram Yeshua, und hat Maskim given. He smiled, and his wife was even sitting at the table, and she stopped the conversation with the Rebbe and with my wife, and she wanted to see what were we talking about, because she saw how mechuzik he was from that. What was Rav Sheps trying to tell me? That I shouldn't argue with him because Rebbe Avram Yeshua was maskim? He was trying to tell me, don't think sie gewinnt Teira Amol in Meyer and in Brisk and in Shanghai. Sie dort teure Heint. Today, There's people who go asking learning. There's people who are giving over the Torah. And today, there's a whole blossoming world, and we're living in that world. That's not only about the Rosh Yeshiva and the Rabbonim, that we have to believe and be dovuk, just like they were dovuk in the years prior. But it's also about ourselves. Many times we play ourselves short. We're stuck believing we are who we are, and we're just going to grow by becoming, by doing things a little better, learning more, davening more. Of course that's important. But there's something so much more. We have to accept that we are the dor, deya of today's dor. We are the ones who our children are looking up to. Our children don't have anything else to look up to. They're looking up to us. Kabed es avicha v'esimecha doesn't only mean be machabed, your father or your mother. Of course it means that. Kabed es avicha is machabed adu bist an avicha. Many times we're striving so much to stay young. We're not allowing ourselves to take on the mantle of the mashpiyim, that every move we make makes a difference in doirei doiras because it has an effect and an impression on our children and our children's children and the people around us. The Eibishter said, of course you have a right to complain, but you don't chap, you're not cognizant that after Matan Torah, you are now the dor that was makabel the Torah, and people are looking at you, your children and all the doiras. It was Rab Oznei. People, they didn't accept that people could hear their krechtzes. They have to do things and raise themselves up because they're responsible for future doiras. I think it's very appropriate that tonight's dinner we're honoring the Shul as a miftzar HaTorah, as a beacon of light for the whole greater community. Because that's what a Shul really is. We accept that what we're doing has a hashboah, an effect. People come to learn, Bachrim come to learn, Balabatim come, and it's a Shul with Tefillah B'Tahara and all the adjunct inyanim that take place from the Shul are something that comes from a point of responsibility. Yiratzin, the Eibusha should help all of us. We should be able to feel the goodness and the meaning in what we're doing. And that should drive us further to become better, to become different. Not only to do things different, to become besser a mention, hecher a mention. And that's really what the Tzav HaShah is. I saw the Kedushas Levi says, when the Eibishter told Aaron HaKoyen to do his avodah, he called it avodas matone. The question is, what kind of avodas matone? You giving Hashem a matone? He's telling you to do it. He's telling you you're compelled to do it. So what kind of matone are you giving him? You tell somebody you're obligated to do something for me. That's the opposite of what a matone is. Dr. Levi Yitzchak, the whole nafkamina was the roach of v'samach b'liboy. Aaron HaKoyen did it with a geschmack, with a fire, with a devotion. That's the matana we can give to the Eibishter. That's the mavoidas. You turn a hechrich, when you're compelled, into a gift when you do it with cheshik. Let's learn Torah with cheshik. Let's daven with a cheshik. Let's do our avodas Hashem, abenodam lechaveroi, like Rav Yedid said. I really feel it. We're in a different situation in all our lives from when we started this Chabura. We're growing together. We grew together, but now we're up to the next shlav. The next shlav is a doer of hashboeh, a doer of we know we have the responsibility of being the mashpiyah for our children, our children's children. I felt a great nachas a few months ago. Someone called me up, a rav of a shul in Lakewood, and he told me, in the outskirts of Lakewood, and he told me they were having a meeting in the shul about something that's taking place in the shul. Some chaver wanted it this way, some chaver wanted it that way. And one balabas in the shul said, I don't know. In Khal Bnei Torah by Cynamon's shul, that's the way they did it. And that's the way I want it to be done in this shul. That was his vote. I'm not praising ourselves. I'm saying I see the kesher nafshis that the people who grew out of the shul, and that's the matana we give ourselves when we do it with a cheshik, we do it with an achdus, we do it with a togetherness. And we have to respect it. We have to respect others. Any person who comes into the shul when it's all the storim that there are in the shul, we could see ourselves as older. I come there on Friday or Friday night and I say a dvar Torah, a chakira. I always look at myself, I said, I'm not getting older, but the people listening are definitely getting younger when I see them there. And with such a cheshik and such a gishmak, it reminded me of they have archives of pictures in Tervadas. A few times I went downstairs and I looked at some of the pictures. So there's a picture, a gewaldige picture that I saw. It made a roshim on me, an impression. They have a picture of Camp Mesivta. And in Camp Mesivta, Reb Shlomo Hyman came to Camp Mesivta. Shlomo Hyman was the Talmud Muvik of Reb Baruch Ber. He was the Rosh Hashiva in Ramailis. He was brought up Davuk B'Torah, didn't know anything else, and he came to Tarvadas. The first year he was in Tarvadas, he went out to Camp Mesivta. So there's a video and a picture of him in Camp Mesivta. And he's wearing his kapota and he's holding his hat. And he's talking to 4 chevron learning. And I looked at the picture. The chevra talking to him are wearing sailor hats with sailor uniforms. I'm looking. I don't think that was the uniform of Mesivta Tarvadas. And he was talking to them and learning. And they even have on the back of the picture some of the names of these chevra, Choshev Balabatim and Magidei Shir in the future. And I asked somebody in the office and they said, it was color war. They were dressed or they were doing some sort of presentation and they were dressed in sailor uniforms. I said, and Shlomo Hyman was talking to them and learning. In Cheskes Ein Mahani Labas, in Cheskes Mari Kama, and he was talking to them. He didn't look Americana books. That's not the way he looked at it. He looked at it, we're going to raise them up and we're going to talk to them like I spoke to the Talmidim in Kamenitz and in Ramailis. Every one of us has to see our jobs. Of course, there's a meridik welt of nisyonis, and the doer, you have to respect this young doer for all the nisyonis that they have to go to see and battle. But we have to respect it. And our hashbos, we have to raise them up, raise up the aspirations, raise up the darga of Torah, raise up the darga of Yerushalayim, and b'schus that, we'll be zeicha to the Bonachayim Zoyna, and we'll be zeicha that the Eibishter will give us the Gashmias that we need for the Ruchnias, and we'll all be zeicha be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, nachas the Kedusha. I want to mention also, Baruch Hashem, it's a schus for me. My parents are here. my father sein gesund, my mother, all of us together, to be zeiche, to have the geduld, the patience, to be able to grow, to be able to be mashpia, and to be able to do our avodas Hashem in a way that will bring nachas to the Eibishter. Before we get to the next part, I would be remiss to thank all the people who help out here in the shul. It's almost come out EF Shalafartam. I said our shul is definitely in one way very unique. There's not one salary that goes out from the shul. There's not one penny that is spent not on the Kedusha v'Tahara of the shul. And it shows. I don't mean it shows that it's sometimes not so neat. But it shows on the gewaldige Reinkeit that comes out of the shul. It's a little, our shul, we have quiet people who are doing things. I'd like to thank my Yedid, Rabbi Yisrael Lapel, who's always at my side, who really is always there. Amor ma'at v'aseh harbe is too much amor for that. I'd like to thank the Dr. Koilel Evra, who take care of Yaakov Kruger and others who give us the schus of Torah Eretz Yisrael. I want to thank Rabbi Ingi Finkelstein, who takes care of all the projects in the shul. I want to thank Reb Shmuel Rosenfeld for always being there for all the tzrachim of the shul, and Rabbi Ari Friedman and Navi Schwartz and Reb Gedalia and everybody together. EF Shalafartum Kirabamim, because the shul runs and it's meiridik, it's with a reinkite, with a purity, and that's why there's hatzlacha. We'll just begin the next part of the program. I would really invite, because it's so hard to describe what happens in the shul, both on Fridays, Friday night, and during the week in the shul. I once had somebody from Lakewood, Rav Yedid was talking, Ashkenazim are leaving Brooklyn. So there was someone who came from Lakewood, and I was sitting in the shul Friday night. The place was packed. There was a coil coming out of the shul, and a person opened up the door, and then he maneuvered his way into me. I was sitting in the front, and he said to me, Rav Cynamon, where are all these people from? Where are all these Bachrim? I said, don't worry, the shul has room for another 100 guys. We'll put people on top. We'll bring a tent. It's Mavel al Arayan, the amount of Limud HaTorah that there is in the shul by the Likra Shabbos and the Friday night. It's a schus. And the shul gets beaten up. And I have the Rebbetzin always tell me, make sure it gets cleaned up. It's very hard. She takes achrayas for it. And I say, let's bring another 100 boys into the shul, let them break the steps. That's gewaldig. That's what the tachlis is. Boys, I hear back from yeshivas, the mesiftas, they come back and they repeat what they hear in the shul. It's such a schus for everybody in the shuls. I want to take this opportunity to thank Yedidenu, Reb Moshe Kraut. Gebster should help him for spearheading this gewaldige Harpotzes HaTorah and main Kamach ein Torah, such gewaldige Havas HaTorah, Reb Menachem Bronstein, who Mamish Ba'atznei Aleches supports this whole endeavor, and they come to learn, but they like the sushi. But we get them into the shul, and when they come into shul, they taka learn. And it's a gewaldige schus, and I'd like to thank them, and the Eibshter should help. Yamali Hashem kol mishalas libam l'toiva. The Eibshter should give each one what they need, and everybody together, the schus HaTorah should be oimet. It's also, for the last year, the Shul has become a center for during the week night Seder. I don't know exactly how we got connected, but Yedid, as was mentioned before, of Naftali Miller, who went together with all his myriad, tremendous amount of achrayas that he does for Klal Yisrael. It's almost mind-boggling, the amount what he does the Agudas Yisrael and with the Chazdei Leiv, and so many personal people that he helps. He has it on his mind that the boys should come to the shul, and he hires Yingalite, that many of them are here tonight, who learn with the Bachrim, who supervise the Bachrim, and the shul is a Mokum Torah 7 days a week, b'schus that learning. And sometimes I say, come in, they're learning, some of the boys are schmoozing, and I say to myself, but they're schmoozing in shul. And when you're in shul, you'll end up learning. I still remember when I was a boy, I was brought up in Borough Park. It used to be Friday night, and my father's uncle used to say to me, go battle in Lakewood Minyan. Go to Lakewood Minyan, hang out with your friends in Lakewood Minyan. That's where the Bachrim used to be, and that's a tremendous nachas I have when I see the boys in the shul learning there. So Yiratzen, Rabbi Naftali, you should be able to continue with all your great endeavors for Klal Yisrael, mitoich brias haguf ba'achovas hadas, and nachas from your children, and you should have nachas from all the people that you help, and Klal Yisrael is thankful with gewaldige hakoros hatoiv to you. And last but not least, I met a Rosh Yeshiva. This wasn't a Rosh Yeshiva. I met the son of the Novominsker Rebbe, who's not a Novominsker Rebbe, and he gave one of the shiurim in the shul on Motzei Shabbos. And it was seconded when Rebbe Brudny also came to the shul. He told me the quality and the Kiddush Hashem of the Motzei Shabbos Sugyas Adaf Hayomi shiurim that take place in the shul is a Kiddush Hashem both for the Magidei Shir and for the people who attended the Shir. The inyonim that are covered and the people who are there, who come to say on the schwerst inyonim in Shas, and people come Motzei Shabbos to hear the Shir and to argue on the Shir. It's a Kiddush Hashem not only for the attendees, but for the whole Klal Yisrael. And Gloib Meir, believe me, it's not always so easy to get somebody to say a shir on Baba Kama Taf Tzadik Tes. Now I loosened it up. I said, you could say in the last 10 blot at Daf Yomi. But I have on my side Rebbe Chanan Kass, who's always helping me out, calling, confirming, through the winter, every Motzei Shabbos without fail, there's a shir in the shul. It's a schus for all the mispalim that this takes place. So the schus HaTorah of all these programs, the limud HaTorah that takes place every morning in the shul. After davening, we have the Amud Yomi in the shul. The Daf Hayomi that takes place, that's led by our Daf Hayomi commissioner, Reb Sheldon Spurn, and all the people who are being miyageya b'Torah in the shul, Shlomo Kraus and all the others. The Eibshter should help all of us. So I'll just finish with one last ma'isa, and I'd like to present the tillums to all the honorees. They once came with a zettel to the Chabina Rav, and it was the time the Chabina Rav was about Shemitah. So it said a big paper, a cruise. They wanted him to be the first one to sign. And it said, all of Khal Yisrael used to always support the Gedolei Yisrael, Midayres She'avru, from the past generations, would support the Shomrei Shemitah. So Anan, they wanted him to sign, Shluchem, the Dairis She'avru. He took out his pen, the Chabina Rav. They thought he's ready to sign, and he crossed out a line on the cruise, on this pronouncement. They looked down, and he crossed out Anan Shluchei the Dairis She'avru. So they asked him, why did he cross that out? He said, of course we're makusher to the free of the Gedairis. Of course we look for guidance of what they did. But mir hab madeya oichet, the Shabina Rav said, I hold myself that we should support the Shomrei Shemitah. Every dar v'darshav, dar v'chachomov, dar v'talmidov. We have to live up to the task. We have to raise ourselves up. We are the mashbiim of this dar. We have to accept it and grow with it. So the Eibishter will help all of us. We'll be able to be equal to the task. And Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, Ach Toiv V'Chesed, Psuris Toivis Yeshuas V'Nechamas.